Greetings, dear, precious, magnificent, divine being that you are. Not who you think you are, but who you really are. Now, I'm whispering a little bit because there are some campers out here, which is really cool for them. Anyway, most people up here don't get up real early. I like to get up really early. It's a wonderful, wonderful experience. My topic: liberate. Only you can liberate yourself from lack, limitation, and death. Only you can liberate yourself. That's it. And what happens is, well, everybody wants liberation from someone else. Someone else is going to free me. Someone else is going to save me. Somebody else is going to tell me how to live my life or what I should do. And it's one of the important things about health. And it's so amazing when we are taught and told through all the educational processes, government, and all of this kind of a thing, how our body functions and what we do. So what happens is people don't even find out themselves. And they say, well, I don't want to bother with that. I want somebody else to tell me. You do the research and you let me know. Well, why? Because then when you tell people about what you're doing for your health and well-being and liberation from lack and loss and suffering and death, and you go to share that, well, if somehow they find it doesn't work for them, or they have to give up something that they really don't want to give up, then they're going to blame you because you told me to do this. Well, no, I didn't. So you have to be really conscious about who you share with, because I remember when I was first teaching, and I was teaching a class called Positive Thinking for Women Only. That's when I was into thinking there was positive and negative, and that's all just in this reality. One has to have the other, so don't even bother with that stuff. Know who you are, and that's it. That's the way it is. But anyway, I was teaching this class, and it was the first time I'd ever taught a class, and it was on self-confidence. Of course, I was nervous because I was working on it myself. But anyway, after the third class, this woman came up to me and said, thank you for giving me the advice to divorce my husband. I didn't say that. I didn't mean that. That wasn't what I was teaching. But what happens is everybody has this mind program and this belief system made of thoughts and words and sentences and meanings and definitions and all that controls people's consciousness, and it controls them. So whoever is controlling us has to control us through our willingness to agree. And agreements are also contracts. And these contracts are many, because there are all these programs, these belief systems, these rules, those laws, opinions, what they say, and this and this and this, that people could be completely confused all the time because there's so much information coming at them. And so what I have found, in fact, I have to say that my first students were little kids, because I was Sunday school teacher and Sunday school superintendent, no big deal, but it was like they weren't going to be polite and just sit there on the chair. They're barely sitting on a chair, and they're biting and scratching and pushing and shoving and playing and doing all these things. So you had to be actually do things with them so that they could then observe and they could get the teaching or get anything from the teaching that actually pertained to them. And so I had to be really simple. And I had been studying lots of spiritual teachings from different, systems, different belief systems. And I had to make it really, really simple. And one of the things I did was I gave everybody, they had this little cup, and when they filled it with soil and then would plant a seed in there. And then they were supposed to water it and take care of the seed and then bring it back, and then we'd look at it and see how it's growing. Well, a lot of people, their seeds didn't grow because, first of all, they didn't water it, they didn't take care of it. And other people, their seeds would grow because they did and all that. They began to realize, well, that's how it works here in this reality. And your words are seeds. Those are ideas that get planted in the subconscious and unconscious. Now, who you are doesn't need a conscious, subconscious, and unconscious, because you are a divine being and you are continuously and any words, even the word aware, WARE, is a product. And so when you see how, understand how the language makes people languish, that means to not be proactive for their own self and their own life. And they become, like the word numbers is numbers, NUMBERS. Letters are let them, let hers, let him, LETTERS. So letters and words, and then numbers. And you realize that problems in this world are really created by numbers, because mathematicians love problems because they're solving these things with their numbers, adding and subtracting and dividing and multiplying and doing all of these things. And in fact, I was talking to a friend about the whole idea of, you don't need a master's in business administration to run a business. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous. It's, I give you something and you give me something in return. And then you could keep track of whatever that is and do your little thing with, whatever. But what all of the other is created business. So then you have to do a lot of numbers, and you have to make a business plan, and then you have to be able to do this and all this kind of a thing. And you wear your suit, you have to do all this stuff in order to play in that game. So how you liberate yourself from all of the lack and the suffering and the death, because it's not a truth. You're going to drop the concept or the appearance. But that's a good thing at some point, but then don't pick it back up again. Don't take it back up again. You have to do your own work. You have to do your own research. And what I do when people want to work with me is I don't just get along to go along. I'm not going to just rehash old teachings that you have that you're clinging on to because you've made it your you're proud of what you know and what you've learned and what you've intellectualized. And you see, even when I say people, this man the other day was sneezed in the market, and I said, be more you. And I said, he looked at me and I said, I didn't say bless you, be less you. Now, when you tell some people like that, oh no, because I'm always blessing people all the time. It's what we do, it's what we say. How could you take that away from me? And when they say amen, that's amen ra. That's an Egyptian term. Do you know what you're saying? Amen. I always say all women. I mean, it's just it's all of these concepts. Flat Earth, circular Earth, globe Earth, this digital reality, all of these kind of things. Where is all that coming to us? It's coming through us through information, through words, through teachings, through stuff. And if you're going to liberate yourself from all of this, it means you have to know it's all about you. And that what happens is, I'm not interested in validating or trying to prove something having to do with intellectualism or religious dogma or whatever, what may I say, laws and rules that are in all of these books and now, what would you call it, technology. It's not who I am, and it's not who you are. And yet what happens is people get addicted to all, and they get proud of how much they know in technology, proud of all their degrees. And these are boxes. These are, you can't think out of the box. Thinking makes boxes, makes reality boxes. Oh, my story. Let me tell you my story. Let me tell you if I'm qualified or not. What do you mean qualified? I started teaching. I didn't get a teaching degree. I was teaching a little kid. What is it? Because then you have to teach a scripted work. You have to. It's like when you want to liberate yourself, you have to realize you've already been in a cage. You've already been trapped. You've already given away yourself. So to take yourself back, take your health back, take your wealth back, take your intelligence back, take your divine powers back and who you are, as long as you want people to like you, as long as you want people to, as long as you're manipulating other people to get what you want, they're also manipulating you to get what you want. And so what is it most people want? They want validation of who they are, their belief system, what they think, what they say, what they do, how they live. And then what happens is people are so susceptible to all of this mind programming because everybody's got this mind that's continuously talking to them every single moment. And some people can't even sleep because the mind is continuing to broadcast lack, loss, poverty, hatred, death, disease, unpopularity, you're not good enough, nobody will ever love you, nobody wants what you have to offer. Who's saying this? And who's telling you this? And then you have to be thinking and analyzing and do your numbers so that your numbers are going to work out for the next deal. And they're numbers. You get dumbed down. Every time you give your power to something that is not your own experience, what do you really know? You only know what you experience, not what you think. See, what happens is when something happens, the mind makes up a story all the time. So maybe somebody didn't treat you the way you thought you needed to be treated in that moment. So you make up a story about it, and then then that's how they are, and they don't like me anymore, and they're doing this and that, and then the mind is going on. Then you got to discuss it with each other. What did you mean by that? Well, I didn't mean that. Yes, you did. You meant that, and you said that. It's pettiness, complete pettiness all the time. And then also you get these people that, oh, I'm a new ager, I'm a new thought, or I'm a fundamentalist, or I'm born again. And all of these are terms. These are, and a term is a time, is in the time game for a sentence. And there's terms in your contracts, there's terms in your house payments, there's terms in your relationships, and we have all of these belief systems that are determining how we feel, what we do, what we are experiencing. And if you want to completely liberate yourself, you have to be willing to blow your mind. You have to be willing to blow your belief systems. You have to be willing in every moment to really test within yourself, how does that feel? Does that align with the simplicity of, I am a divine being, and so are you? And when you get it where people are trained, whether it's in the army or the police or in their local club or organization or a religious group or political group or whatever, they're being conformed through a belief system where causing us to do violence on someone else, which is violence on ourselves, and to get in line, to line up, to all have one focus and one mindset. And you have to step out from the crowd. You have to get out of the parade. You get out of the the wave of where everybody else is going. Take a look at where they're going. Take a look at where they are. Take a look at what kind of beings are they? When you ask people, well, how are your children? Oh, great, they have this job and they own this house and they got a boat now. No, that has nothing to do with who they are. You know, it's like, instead of when you say to someone, how are your children? Say, oh my God, they're just fabulous people. They're loving, they're kind, they're generous, they're giving. They're brilliant in their observation. They know who they are. They stand in that beingness. They contribute of their self. They're empowering to others. No, they own this and they have this degree and I sent them to college. That's just so they can all be programmed, you know, and it's like, oh, yeah, because they want to look successful. They don't want to fail. They want to be in the system. They want to go along to get along. So if you're going to liberate yourself, you have to have a commitment to know and to be who you are and to be a sleuth, a detective, looking for clues and then do your own research. Because what could be more important than who you are? And in this world, to also have a healthy body to maintain yourself and live in nature as our closest way, not piled on each other in all of these little boxes, all controlled by electronics, going all through the walls and all through the place and everything, and all of the movies and the videos and all they're watching, and they're taking polls to see who likes this and who doesn't like that, and shaping people through consciousness. So all is possible for you, my darlings, but you have to have the courage and the willingness to be and stand who you are within yourself, because that's where the power is, and the pleasure, and the joy, and the freedom, and the experience of the totality of who you are. Hugs.